What's going through your brain right now, Coach?
The way I'm wired, it's always on to the next. The security or whatever, I'm always thinking of the future. I'm always in the moment, but I'm never thinking about the moment. So as long as we have another game, I can't think about or really dwell on what we've done. Now, when we landed yesterday, late evening, I looked at my wife and said, are we really playing in the Final Four at Houston on Saturday? So about once a day, I'll throw that out to a staff member. Have we really won 15 straight games? Is this right? And then we laugh, and then we move on to the playing in practice or going to weight room or whatever the case. So it's just the way that it seems like we're all kind of wired like that, where you don't see a lot of celebrating amongst ourselves. We expect to do great things, and we have high standards. So I think that those things have all contributed to us kind of staying even keeled.
But I also know, I've been around coaches for a long time, Dusty, and I also just know coaches who are married. It's a partnership. And it's a long journey that if you have a spouse, a partner go along with you, that this is just as big for the spouse and partner as well. We've just met. I don't know how long you've been with your wife, but this must be mind-blowing for her as well, Coach.
Well, Rich, not to get off track, but she was my girlfriend in fourth grade. We dated off and on all through junior high, through high school. And so, yeah, we've been best friends since elementary school. And I moved her all over the country, uprooted our family time and time again to chase this dream. So it's kind of like watching your players cut down the net because you know what all they put into it.
Yep.
I'm not excited. I'm just elated to see them going through this together. And that was the best part of it for me personally, was just seeing my wife and three sons just embracing this moment because they're the ones that have had to endure the hardest parts.
Well, for me, this is not off track. This is completely on track. How old are your children? How old are the kids?
21, 19, and 17.
Dude. Ooh. Okay. So you've been in this fight for a while.
Yes.
You've been in this.
I was living in L.A., working at USC under Henry Bibby when my wife got pregnant, and then they multiplied. So, yeah, we were young parents trying to figure it out, and I think my oldest son was 7 when he'd lived in 6 states. So wow. The life of a coach. It
is the life of a coach. Why did you get on this path to begin with? Coach?
I always wanted to be a high school basketball coach. I played Division II 1 year and ran cross country and decided I wanted to be a coach. So I went and volunteered as a student manager at IU under Bobby Knight because I thought I would be able to get a varsity coaching position in the state of Indiana out of college. That was my goal. That's what I was chasing. And after I was there a year or two, one of the assistant coaches asked me, are you going to coach? And I said, yes. And he said, college or high school? And I said, I can coach college. Me? I have no connections to the game. Nothing but strong work ethic and a love of the game. And he said, yeah. And so he rattled off what some of the other guys were doing at that time, what Lawrence Frank was doing, guys like that. Mm-hmm. So I immediately changed my major from education to history and went from shadowing teachers to skipping class and taking the assistant coaches on recruiting trips, coaching AU in the summer and chasing this dream.
What a story, Dusty May. I'm assuming Bob Knight didn't interview you personally for the student manager job, right? Somebody else did that.
But I had a personal connection with the team doctor, Dr. Larry Rink, who's also one of Coach Knight's best friends. So I had an in, and Dr. Rink was telling me that I would have a position. And so it was known that as long as I interviewed well with the group, with Tim Garl, who's his trainer, who did everything for him, then I would be fine. So I was confident that I was going to have a spot.
Not to go all Caddyshack on you here, but is it a true story you mowed the lawn of that doctor? Is that the true story, Coach?
His old friend from the Navy, they served together in the Navy.
Yeah.
That's who I worked for, and I did all of his land. His name's Dave Rutherford, and he's actually just relocated to Boca and follows our team religiously. But I cut his grass. I took care of his pool. I did his landscaping. I did everything you could imagine that he needed done. I did it. And then Dr. Rink at times would need extra work done around his house. So Dave would say, hey, Dusty does great work. So Dr. Rink would hire me for this or that. And so I knew him, and he would go to our games, and I think he appreciated the way I played and how much passion and energy I tried to carry myself with. And he thought me going to work for Coach Knight would be great for my career because he knew I wanted to coach. So it's all true.
So, and before we hit the here and now then, and I know this is a dicey question because we're on live radio and television right now. Do you remember the first interaction you had with Bob Knight when he first saw you, looked at you, and you're just strolling around as a student manager? Can you tell that story? Coach?
I don't remember the first time I saw Coach Knight. I remember the first time I walked into Assembly Hall on the court, and I still have goosebumps thinking about that moment. Being a small town Indiana kid and Indiana basketball, to me and our family in our area was the pinnacle. That was it. I mean, that was basketball. So I just remember the first time I saw him, just thinking how enormous and intimidating he was and is. And so, I don't remember the first time, but I do remember that's what I was thinking the first time I saw him.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.